We're back with another tier list. This time, it's gonna be the Linkin Park studio albums. I've always been a huge Linkin Park fan, but last year, during summer, I really got to listen to them a whole lot, to every single album. I love all of their albums, even the more poppy ones. So, without further ado, let's just tier the Linkin Park albums. Starting with Hybrid Theory, and I would like to say we could save the best for last, but I think most of us can agree we start with the best. This album is an all-time classic. It's one that just kicked the door open for nu metal, which is one of my favorite subgenres in metal ever. I think every single song on this just hits the mark. Even at the end, Cure for the Itch is obviously a lesser song, but it's kind of an interlude, which still works really well. I mean, it works less on its own, obviously, but when you listen to the album as a whole, it works perfectly well and just makes the transition into Pushing Me Away so smooth. I love it. It's great. It's easily S tier. Every single song on this one is like a classic. And before we go further, I just have to show this awesome vintage Linkin Park Crawling CD. It's got the album version of Crawling and then paper cut live from the BBC, and I got this at a thrift store for 50 cents. So fucking cool. Meteora. Now this is pretty much Hybrid Theory 2. I don't know, I always like to call it that. It's pretty much the similar style. I love how the song Forward has like this hammer breaking glass, and then it just kicks into Don't Stay. I love that. And Somewhere I Belong, like, just every single song when I read the title, like, it starts popping into my head and I'm just mentally vibing, And much like with Hybrid Theory, the second last song, Session, is a really nice interlude that fades nicely into Numb, which, don't get me started on Numb. I mean, it's one of their hits, one of their most famous songs, but it's a classic. It's a hit for a reason, for sure. So yeah, this album too, just like Hybrid Theory, it's a fucking classic, and I listen to this one all the time. These two, everyone will put these as right. Then Minutes to Midnight. To me, this is more of a slower album. Like already from the start, there's a build up to it, which I don't necessarily mind. But it's just, it's kind of weird how it's so different from the last two already, But still, I fucking love this album. My favorite song is probably Leave Out All the Rest. It's super emotional, and to me it's always about like a human legacy. That's kind of how I interpret it, like what you leave behind in the world and how will you be viewed in like 100 years, which is always just something interesting. Bleed It Out, Shadow of the Day. Again, much like the other albums, reading the track list, all the songs pop into my mind. All the songs are super memorable, but not as memorable as Hybrid Theory or Meteora, I would say. But still, it's like just a bit slower and not as re-listenable as Meteora and Hybrid Theory. I find myself listening to those way more, but this is a really, really solid album, and I fucking love this one, so I'm still gonna put it A for sure. 1,000 Suns. Still, good album. However, compared to the others, it's, to me, a step down for sure. I love some songs, and then there are just some songs that I like, but I would never listen to on their own. The songs I really love are Burning in the Skies, Waiting for the End, and Iridescent. But The Catalyst and The Messenger are also really, really good. The other songs I don't care for too much. I like them, but it's not as good as the songs I just mentioned. I also find myself re-listening to this album potentially the least. I just usually listen to those songs I just mentioned. There are bands out there that wish they could make an album as good as 1,000 Suns. Let's just say that. But still, I can't put it A with Minutes to Midnight. I also can't put it C, so I'm gonna go B with this one. Still a good album though. Living Things. I freaking love this album too. I think especially the first half is really good. You got bangers like Lost in the Echo, In My Remains, Burn It Down, Lies, Greed, Misery, I'll Be Gone, Castle of Glass. But then it kind of slows down a bit. I still love all of those songs, but to me, it's just the second half is a little bit weaker from the first half. I will say this one is on par with Minutes to Midnight probably, as a really solid album, not as re-listenable and great as Hybrid Theory and Meteora, but still, I fucking really love this album. So I'm gonna put it A. The Hunting Party. Now this is kind of a return to form to like Meteora and Minutes to Midnight, sort of, with that it's heavier again, it's like more metal again, and I freaking love this album, but it's one of those albums I kind of have to force myself to listen to, you know what I mean? Like every time I do listen to it, I fucking love it. I love most of the songs, but it's a forgettable album. When I'm reading the track list, I can remember some of the songs, but a lot I can't. My favorite song would probably be Final Masquerade. I will say Drawbar is a better interlude than Cure for the Itch and Session, just because of the piano. It's so beautiful and fuck, it's just perfect, man. So it's, for me, this one is tough because I would almost put it B, but then again, I will go A. Yeah, One More Light. Now, this is one that a lot of people dislike, but I personally like this one. Much like with The Hunting Party, this is one I need to force myself to listen to it, but whenever I do, I love it. I will say some of the songs are more memorable than on The Hunting Party, probably. It's really poppy, and there are some pieces of music that I fucking can't stand, especially like this part. But other than that, it's super out of my comfort zone, but I love that Linkin Park did this. Now, is it... how do I even compare these albums? You know, looking at these albums and trying to compare these, it's possible. But anyway, One More Light, I would probably put B. I was almost gonna put it C, but, you know, it's a fun, catchy album. And I enjoy it for what it is. I get the hate that it gets because it's so other than the other albums, but still, I've always had a soft spot for One More Light. I enjoy it for what it is, and it's a fun album. So there's my list. Do you agree with me or do you not agree with me at all? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see me rank and tier more studio albums, let me know what band I should tier next. Make sure you subscribe for more horror and metal content. And in the outro, you will see my most recent upload, as well as an upload handpicked by the algorithm just for you. So check it out right now.